Welcome back to Crash in the Glass. My name is AJ. Hope you all are doing well. It is peak off season now. Summer league's over, and we have not had a whole lot of NBA action. It's been pretty quiet on the trade front and player movement. And I think the biggest news since the last time we talked was Damian Lillard going back to Portland, re-signing with the Trailblazers on a 3-year, $45 million contract, which is great value for Damian Lillard, even if the first year of that contract he's going to be rehabbing from his Achilles injury. Even still, that is a fantastic value for a player of Damian Lillard's caliber, even at this stage of his career. And it's a feel-good story. He goes back to Portland. And I was seeing some reports online that this was unexpected, but when I first saw the news, it made total sense to me that Dame would end up going back to Portland. Just makes sense that he'd find a reunion there and end up playing with the young guys. I mean, he eventually left Portland because of the fact of the Scoot Henderson signing and the backlog and the logjam of guards that they had on the roster fighting for playing time in two positions, and it's just not an ideal environment for a star guard like Damian Lillard. There wasn't a whole lot of room for him anymore. So I don't really know how that played out. I don't think he requested a trade, but he eventually did get moved to the Bucks, and it's just such a full circle moment from that moment, because he got traded for Jrue Holiday, which the Blazers immediately flipped to the Celtics. And it's just so interesting that both those players are now back in the Trailblazers. So the Trailblazers walk out. It's such a weird, butterfly effect of this is that now they're both back on the team with everything that they got traded for. It's such a weird situation. But, hey, Trailblazers, they walk out that one feeling great. I mean, they get both the guys that they had on their roster, but eventually traded. And Dame just going back to Portland, such a good story. And I think he's going to, I heard that he's going to be on the sideline, coaching. Coach is going to put him to work. He's going to be involved with the player development. And I think for a guy like Scoot Henderson, having a player of Damian Lillard's caliber and Dame in the locker room is just going to be so beneficial for him in the long run. I mean, just having that veteran leadership can really change the way that a player ends up developing. And just the skill sets, I think, are a little bit overlapping, too. I mean, Dame could just show him the ropes. I mean, Scoot's been in the league for a couple of years now, so he's not like a rookie or anything. But just some of the more nuanced aspects of his game, I think that Damian Lillard will definitely improve. Some of the vision, some of the playmaking. I think that it would not be a surprise to me to see Scoot Henderson take a leap this next year, whether it's because of Damian Lillard or not. I'm kind of expecting Scoot to end up being a little bit better, at least taking a small leap from last season and the season before that, because I feel like players and even the media in general and social media and whatever, people are just way too quick to write off rookies and these developing players as busts before they've even got a chance to reach their potential. If rookies don't pan out in the first or second year, people are like, oh, bust, it didn't work out, they're terrible. And it's like maybe a guard, especially a small young guard like Scoot Henderson, might need a couple more years to develop. And a guy like Damian Lillard next to him and just being the supporting voice and a coach around him is totally going to help his development. And the Blazers got someone cooking. I'll be honest, I like their roster, man. I really like it heading into next season. They made the Jrue Holiday trade as well, get him back on the roster. And I think that they're going to be really competitive. Although the West is so stacked, I think that the Trailblazers could just have a fun season, maybe push for a play-in. When you go down the list, I did it last episode, but when you go down the standings, it's like, ooh, where do all these kind of middling West teams end up? But for the Trailblazers, they shouldn't be worried about, success yet. Maybe that's next season. But they've already had the fun run last year, right, where they ended up being a lot better than they thought that they were going to be, which doesn't place expectations, but it does place some kind of mindset of being like, okay, we can at least be competitive. We can at least push for somewhat of a play-in. And although all the other teams around them got better, I think the Trailblazers can definitely make a run for a play-in spot. But more importantly, just to have those guys develop, and like a Scoot and Tumani Kamara, let him get some more run. Getting these young guys just some more time on the court where they can play together. And I think having Damian Lillard not playing the first year might be good for Scoot, just in general, just having these younger guys get some more time, getting Shaedon Sharpe some more minutes. I think it's going to be good for them long term. I'm excited to see what the Trailblazers can do next season. I'm looking forward to it, definitely. And then some other news that we had, Russell Westbrook maybe coming to Sacramento. I'm not sure about that. I don't know how I feel about Russ coming to Sac. Not the fact that Russ is the problem, but just our current roster. It's like, where does Russ fit in? I have no idea. Nobody fits in on this roster, and we don't need another explosive, weird piece to fit with it. Like, Russell Westbrook should be on a contending team, not the Sacramento Kings. I'm not sure about the fit there. I mean, as a Sacramento Kings fan, I really like Russell Westbrook as a player, as a person. I'd be very thankful to have him on the roster. But from a team-building aspect, it's like, what are we doing? We got Dennis Schroeder, Malik Monk, Devin Carter, Nick Clifford, who we just drafted. He plays some guard, and it just doesn't make any sense. Zach LaVine, it's just like, what is going on with this team? And with all those players, it's like, where does Keon Ellis fit in? Because, in my opinion, he should be starting on this team, not coming off the bench. So it doesn't really make sense to get a guy like Russ. I mean, he definitely fits well in a backup guard position, a backup point guard role like he played with Denver. I would hope that he would re-sign with Denver, honestly, just with the fit there. And I know that he's probably not going to want to do that because he proved that he is worth more than a minimum contract. But the MLE is what it is. I mean, there's not a whole lot of money left out there. I guess the Kings are going to spend a little bit to get him, not a whole lot, but I don't know. I'm just not sure if that money is better spent elsewhere or just saving it and not having another guard. Because Russell Westbrook on this team, all he does to me is limit the development of some of the younger guys like Keon Ellis, like Nick Clifford. He's just getting in their way, and we're not trying to contend, and we're not trying to have an explosive player like him and come off the bench anyways. We need the young guys to get minutes, to get development, to really prove their worth in the NBA because, I don't know, I think that having a Keon Ellis starting is a championship level caliber starter, in my opinion. Like, if I look, 5 years, 7 years into the future where the Kings make every single right move, this is a perfect world where this is literally would never happen. But just theoretically, Keon Ellis I could see him being a starter, like an Indra Nimhard type role on a championship contender team. Not that the Kings are ever going to get there, but if he were to be moved on another team, I could totally see it, man. Keon Ellis could definitely fill that role perfectly. But on the Kings, it's like, where do all these guys fit in? It's just a logjam at guard. I'm expecting some moves to be made. I saw that maybe the Westbrook signing hasn't happened yet because we're trying to move Malik Monk or Devin Carter. And I didn't even mention Devin Carter in the guard position because I'm assuming that we're going to trade him, to be honest. Whether it's this season or next, whatever that works out to be. I just don't think I'm kind of out on Devin Carter a little bit, but not completely. I'm out on him on the Kings. I'll put it that way. I think that he is a competitive NBA player and think he's going to be really good in the league, and I think he can last for a long time. But on the Kings, it just doesn't fit well, in my opinion. I just don't really see him meshing with the other guards that we have and just the skill sets around him. I don't know. He's a really, really hyper athletic guard, but he doesn't play make enough for point guard, and he has the size for shooting guard, but he just doesn't shoot the ball well enough for shooting guard. He doesn't shoot well enough, so he's just kind of gets stuck somewhere as a combo guard in between, and that definitely has a role in the NBA, but not on the Kings currently, the way that we are constructed. So Russell Westbrook coming to Sac, I mean, I don't know. I'm curious to see how that'll play out. I wouldn't mind him on the team as a fan. He'd be fun, definitely, but as a team building aspect, I don't know. I don't know about the fit. And then other news, Luka, he's getting in shape. This isn't really a storyline, but it's just pretty cool to see him, working out. Feels like Nico Harrison just lit a fire, and now he's gonna go kill the league. Like, he needed any more motivation. It feels like Luka's one of those guys that'll just take that and run with it and be like, okay, you think I'm out of shape? You think I'm not a franchise guy? You're like, I'll show you what I am. So mark my words, man. I would not be surprised if Luka is in MVP conversations this year. He was a couple years back. This last season, he had some injuries, so he wasn't really, either whole trade and everything had to readjust to Los Angeles. But this upcoming season, man, he could totally be in MVP conversations, definitely. And that's all I've got for NBA news. Let's jump into my top 15 power forwards ranked heading into the 2025-2026 NBA season. My top 15-ish power forwards ranked heading into next NBA season. And the reason why it's top 15-ish, is because this position is stacked. When I was going through it, there are a lot of small forwards that have kind of transitioned into being power forwards at the later stage of their careers. And we're seeing a little bit more double big being experimented with league-wide, with the Chet Holmgren wanting to play a 4. We have the whole Anthony Davis fiasco of him wanting to play a 4 for years and never getting to, and always complaining about it, like, hey, we need a center, passive-aggressively. So we're seeing a lot more double bigs. We saw like Cat and Rudy Gobert. So we're just seeing all of these exterior positions, the 3 and the 5, kind of convert to this 4. And what happens is this position is absolutely loaded with top-end talent and depth. So I couldn't limit it to just 15. It ended up kind of going to 16, 17-ish, just because all of the players around 15, it would be wrong not to mention them on this list because they've all had fantastic seasons. So as always, next season, Tatum is injured, so he's not going to be considered for this list, and that's the only big injury that I could find. So Tatum would probably slide in around the top of this list, definitely. He'd probably be, 2, 3, 4 range, but I didn't have to think about it because he's injured next season. So some other things to note. Cat is now a center, in my opinion. I did my best with positions because the NBA is so positionless now. It's hard to tell who is what anymore. But a guy like Chet Holmgren, I'm considering a power forward. Anthony Davis also because he's going to be playing power forward next season. But Chet also played a lot of 4 next to Hartenstein. We're going to see AD play next to Gafford, Lively. So considering them power forwards for this list. Karl-Anthony Towns, I'm considering him a center because he kind of moved over there to center this last year in New York. I expect him to play center next season. So let's start off with the honorable mentions. So first off, we've got PJ Washington. Fantastic season. I feel like he was really able to shine with some injuries on his team. The whole Luka trade, then Kyrie went down, and their whole roster was injured, and PJ Washington just got to ball out. So he did a great job of that. Even on their finals run last season, he did a fantastic job of just being in that Thunder series. In the second round, he killed them. Oh my goodness, he lit them up in 2 seasons ago. I think I said last season, but technically last season was just this past season. But I mean, the 2023-2024 NBA season, when the Mavs went to the finals, he killed it, man. He was fantastic, but really did good this last season too. We've also got Tobias Harris, Keegan Murray, Obi Toppin. These guys are all just not quite good enough to make it on this list, but in any other position, I feel like they would all be definitely considered for that, lower tier spot. Keegan Murray, I feel like, was probably on this list a couple years ago, but has kind of fallen since his rookie year just because of the Kings being middling, and he hasn't really taken any leaps from his rookie season. He's kind of leveled out and plateaued a bit, which he's still a fantastic player, but just not quite at the upper echelon of power forwards in the league. Obi Toppin just had a great finals run, but he's a bench player, and he has a limited role and is able to thrive in that, not a huge responsibility on his shoulders. Tobias Harris, also kind of a 3rd, 4th, 5th option on the Pistons. Just a good role player, really fit in well in Detroit. I can't wait to see him continue to thrive in that position that he's in there and not be tasked with being something that he's not, as he was in kind of with the 76ers, and just able to play his role. Then we've also got Tari Eason, Alex Sarr. Tari Eason had a really, really good season. I had a hard time keeping him off this list, but again, just a limited role. It's hard to say that he is one of the top 15 power forwards in the league when he's basically like the 5th, 6th option who's coming off the bench, so it's, I don't know, it's just a tough position to put him in. And then Alex Sarr, who just had a great rookie season but hasn't shown me quite enough to put him on this list. And yeah, let's get right into it. So we've got around the 16-ish range, okay? So here we end up around 16, and these players are all so good and had such great seasons. They all are getting on this list, just not at 15. So we've got Jalen Johnson, who really took an all-star leap this year, was probably going to be an all-star if not for his injury. And the only reason he's not higher on this list, in my opinion, is because of that injury. He only played, I'm going to the stats real quick. He played 36 games, just not quite enough for me to say that he is one of the top power forwards in the league. Just not enough sample size. But if he plays an entire next season, he could definitely jump up on this list. He had 19 points per game, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, just a stud all around. He is stealing a half per game, a block per game, great efficiency. And the three-point shot is coming around, but they're not looking at him like that. What a fantastic player. What he's able to do on the defensive end is just nuts. Him and Dyson Daniels, I feel like they're really building a culture in Atlanta around Trae Young, having all of these pieces that are now, just building this core that is really, really competitive, especially in this East this upcoming season. Do not be surprised if the Hawks make a top 3, top 4 push. I see the Cavs being still the top dog. I don't see them being dethroned, even after having not a great postseason. They had some injuries, but I still expect the Cavs to dominate. They're probably going to be the 1 seed. And then Knicks are still, they're up there. And then Hawks are like right in that conversation, right below them, in my opinion. And then I had also Cam Johnson was right in that conversation as well, around the 16 range. Just a great season. I'm so curious to see his role in Denver compared to the Nets, right? Because on the Nets, he is just given room to just thrive and to ball out and to be the number 1, number 2 option behind Cam Thomas. But what's he going to look like as a role player? I'm assuming the stats are probably going to go down a little bit, which makes it not look so nice on paper. But I expect the impact to be there significantly. Or we might see the stats go up because Jokic is just that great that he's going to set him up for success. And his new teammate, Aaron Gordon, is right here in this range. And Aaron Gordon doesn't score quite as much as some of these other guys in this tier that I have. He's a couple points per game lower. He's only scoring about 15 points per game. But his efficiency and what he does in the court is absolutely insane. He was their second best player, in my opinion, this postseason run that they just had. He was right behind Jokic being the second best player on the team. I think that he surpassed Jamal Murray at certain points. And he also shot the ball so great from 3. He just developed that shot this last season, shooting 43.6%. Yeah, we're giving him that 0.6 because that is insane numbers after shooting 29% the previous season. That's a huge jump after just 1 season, and he's never been a great three-point shooter. When you look at the numbers, it's like, oh, he's shooting 33% for his career, and then he just goes up 10% points. It's just absolutely nuts. Shooting great from the field as well, 53%. Yeah, I'm looking at the numbers. This is nuts. So his rookie season, he's shooting 27% from 3. Just not his role. Super athletic, rim-running guy, can dunk the ball, can handle it, a little bit, enough to get by where he's not a liability, but just a stocky defender. Really a great player. I like Aaron Gordon's game a lot. And then the next season, so after 27, his rookie season, goes up to 30, then 28, 33, 34, 30, 37, 26, 33, 34, 29, and then jumps up to 43 this past season. Absolutely incredible. You're getting the nod from me for that alone, just his ability to know what the team needs and to provide it. Because the Nuggets definitely did not have a lot of shooters on their team, needed more spacing, and Aaron Gordon and Jokic both were like, we got to take more threes, we got to space it, because the Nuggets were kind of an antithesis to what the rest of the league was doing with the three-point percentage and volume, because they just were such a paint-heavy team dominated around Jokic and the way that he plays, and they're just getting a lot of inside buckets, but they kind of made up for that because although their volume was super low, they converted on a lot of their attempts. I think they were top 10 in three-point percentage just because of these players like Aaron Gordon that stepped up this past season and really took a much bigger role from a spacing standpoint. And then we've also got Lauri Markkanen, who maybe deserves to be higher on this list, but just didn't have a great season this past season. 47 games. It's not too bad injury-wise, but it just felt like on the Jazz, it's hard for me to say that he is contributing to winning basketball because the Jazz are just so bad, and Lauri Markkanen's just, I don't know. I feel like he got his bag, and now he's just chilling. He's just playing. I would like to see him be a little bit more aggressive, just wanting to win. I know the Jazz aren't in that position. They were trying to tank, but still, I think that he is one of the best shooting big men in the league. I mean, he has great efficiency from there, always has. And this past season dropped a little bit, 34%, but huge volume. I mean, he's shooting a lot of games, so I'm not giving him too much slack for that. And then, yeah, that's all I got for the 16-ish, because all these guys deserve a mention. Definitely, they all had fantastic seasons. But then at number 15, I've got Draymond Green, whose numbers don't jump off the page quite as much as some of these other guys. Only 9 points per game, 6 rebounds, 5.5 assists. But the defense, man, when what he's able to do on the court, it cannot be understated, okay? Because he's averaging, a steal and a half per game, a block per game. But what Draymond does on the court, he just anchors that defense. He was in Defense Player of the Year conversations here at the end of the year. I feel like the second half of the year, he obviously was a lot better than the first, and that led him to be in those conversations. But what Draymond does in the court is insane. I mean, he's literally like a quarterback, a defensive quarterback for that team, telling everyone what to do, where to go. So much veteran knowledge in his brain, one of the highest IQ players, and he really contributes to winning basketball. The legacy of him in Golden State and just what he's able to do with contributing on the defensive end is nuts. I mean, they don't have 4 championships without him. You trade Draymond Green for another player of his similar caliber, I don't see it. I don't see it. He is such a one-of-one player that he's just really unique, man. What a unique skill set that he has. But yeah, he's jumping on a 15 on this list. And then at number 14, we've got Julius Randle, who had a really good season this past year. I feel like he kind of changed the narrative around him being not a winning player and being traded for Karl-Anthony Towns to this Timberwolves team that is competitive, just made the conference finals, and slotting him kind of into a similar role as Cat, but not playing the same position, but not a similar role. He kind of provides different skill set. But he slotted in, man. He slotted in fantastic with this team. I mean, he averaged 19 points per game, 7 rebounds per game, 5 assists, good efficiency, 48% from the field, and just really made them a better team. Like when he was on the court, you could see the impact. Like, okay, he is better than whenever he's off the court. It's very clear that he's a winning player, and it was really shown as a plus in the playoffs, because I think there was this narrative around Julius Randle being a playoff dropper, not performing in the playoffs. He changed that completely this past season, what he's able to do in the playoffs and really just balling out. He took it to especially Draymond, man, in that Warriors series. I feel like they gave him the work. Julius Randle's a big part of that. I feel like he has such a different kind of skill set with his ability to go to the rim and just attack, where some defenses just don't have an answer for that. When you combine it with an Anthony Edwards and Jaden McDaniels, and you've got these other threats and weapons around him, that he can just kind of thrive in his role. And I'm really excited to see where this goes moving forward. I thought that Julius Randle coming into the season might be one of the trade targets, one of the guys on the trade block. But no, I completely changed my mind. He totally fits in with this team. I really like what he provides. And I think that he's going to keep chugging along. The Timberwolves, man, this next season, I don't know where they're going to be at. The West is so competitive that they were the 6th seed but made the conference finals this past year. I think they may be in a similar position this year when you just go down the standings, maybe a little bit higher. Who knows? But they were pretty healthy this past season, too. I mean, Julius Randle, too, played 69 games, played most of the season, and Anthony Edwards also wasn't out for much. So, yeah, let's get on to the next guy on this list, which is at 13. We've got Scotty Barnes, who is up-and-coming player, really just an interesting person. Every clip I've seen of him, he just seems like a class clown, a goofball. But on the basketball court, he provides, man. He's kind of like an interesting skill set player because he can handle the ball, he can shoot it, he can pass, but I mean, not shoot the three, but he can get to the rim and attack the basket. And he scored 20 points per game, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, a steal and a half per game, a block per game. Really good on the defensive end. Is just a Swiss Army knife, do-it-all player. And he is like the number 1 option in Toronto, but in my opinion, I feel like he works better kind of as a number 2, and they just don't have that number 1 guy yet. But regardless, Scotty Barnes is a great player, really does everything on the basketball court. Literally, I think the only thing he doesn't do is shoot the 3. He shot 27% from there, not his strongest suit, but he could do everything else, literally everything else you want from him. He handles the ball. He's kind of like a point forward because he handles the ball a lot, does a lot of playmaking. He's like a 6'7", wing point guard. He's the classic point forward of today's league. And it's really interesting to see how he just navigates situations on the court, has a really high IQ. And I don't know what the Toronto Raptors is going to be like next season. No idea. Brandon Ingram, they just acquired at the trade deadline, hasn't played for them yet. Gave him the extension before he played. And they have a lot of talent. But the Raptors are just in a weird position. They could be, in my opinion, one of those sneaky teams that is surprisingly good. I think they could make a top 6 push, top 5 push in the East if all things swing right. But regardless, Scotty Barnes slots in at 13 on this list. And the next guy I've got at number 13 is did I say 13? Oh yeah, number 12. Sorry, I've got OG Anunoby, who had such a great year. I mean, what a fantastic season from him. Put up 18 points per game, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. But what impresses me the most is what he does on the defensive end. A steal and a half per game, a block per game, and just locks dudes up. Like, this dude is a lockdown defender. You cannot move 2 feet. He's always put on the best player on the other team for a reason. He can guard the best wings in the league. And it seemed like the Knicks were trying to replicate the 2023-2024 Celtics. And one of the reasons why they were doing that is because Tatum and Brown, man, those wings being their strongest positions and having a player that can guard those positions. And OG Anunoby is exactly that. I mean, he locks dudes up. On the defensive end. But offensively, I feel like he took maybe not like a jump this past season, because he's always been pretty good offensively. But I really liked what I saw from him. I mean, I feel like he provided just a different... I guess he did take a jump. Yeah, I'm looking at the stats right here. So he jumped up from... he jumped up from 14 points per game to 18 points per game. So yeah, he definitely took a leap, and it felt like it. Just watching him on the court, it felt like he was a lot more aggressive, did a lot more. Wow, I feel like that's so interesting looking at his points. So he averaged 6 points per game his rookie season, then 7, then 10, then 16, 17, 17, 14, 15, 14, 18. So he's been almost an 18-point per game scorer before, but I don't think as... on a team as good as the Knicks are, because he's like the number 3 option, and maybe number 4. I mean, Jalen Brunson's 1, Cat's 2, and then I would say OG's 3, and then Mikal's 4. So, but OG Anunoby does it all. One of the most perfect role players in the NBA today. I like everything that he does on the court. It's just a net positive player. Doesn't make bad plays. It just does it all. And the next guy we got on our list at number 11 is Zion Williamson. Sheesh, Zion Williamson. Okay, so 30 games this season. Right away, just a knock on his resume. I mean, you can't play 30 games in a season and expect to be super high on this list after playing 70 games the previous season, but having an injury history, 24 games his rookie season, 61 the next season, then didn't play the entirety of the 21-22 season, then 30 games, 70. Last season I had him on my fantasy team, and he did great for me on that 70 game season. He did it all, man. But then gets injured in the play-in against the Lakers, I believe. Was it the Lakers? Shoot, I can't remember. Anyways, regardless, gets injured in the play-in, and then this past season, only 30 games. So the injury history is real, and he definitely gets a knock for that. I mean, if he's not going to be available on the basketball court, I can't confidently put him above some of these other dudes who he may have better talent than. But if he doesn't play, it's hard to put him any higher. But regardless, what Zion does when he is on the court is insane. I mean, 25 points per game, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, a steal, a little over a steal per game, a block per game. Good efficiency too from not from 3, but from the field, the 56%. Is an okay free throw shooter. He shot 70% this past season. I'm curious to see what his free throw numbers are overall. I got on the RJ Barrett, man. I was on his case last time because, man, he is not a great free throw shooter. So 65% this past season. And then, his whole career has been about that, 69% for his career, which isn't too bad for a player like him. I'm not expecting him to shoot well from the free throw line. But Zion, he is a freight train. He is a freight train when he's getting downhill, but he's got to stay healthy, man. He's got to stay healthy because he is a special player. And when he is on the court, he's immediately making an impact. But, availability, I don't know how much to weigh that in these rankings. I ended up slotting him around 11 just because I feel like the guys above him I would just rather have on my team, whether it be because of the injury or not. So at number 10, I've got Pascal Siakam, who I feel like I'm pretty high on compared to the general public. I think that Siakam is one of the most reliable. He is the anti-Zion Williamson because you can literally rely on Pascal Siakam day in, day out to do whatever you need. He will guard. He will create his own. He will get other people going. 20 points per game, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. He's got, steal per game, half a block per game. Pascal is literally a Swiss Army knife. He does it all. He literally can do everything on the basketball court. I don't know something Pascal can't do. One of the best coast-to-coast players. I mean, he can get a rebound, immediately run down on the other side. You got to watch out. We saw a lot this past season in the playoffs, especially even in the finals against the best defense in the league in the Oklahoma City Thunder. Pascal Siakam was able to get his own even when nobody else was. There were times throughout their playoff run this past season and even in previous seasons where the offense kind of stalls and Pascal Siakam's just like the go-to guy. It's like you put the ball in his hands, he's going to create his own shot, he's going to get his own. What a tough shot maker, tough shot getter. You know, he's a bucket. He's literally just a bucket. He does it all. Such a unique skill set. Can hit it from the mid-range, can shoot a bit of threes. He could really do it all. And I'm really high on Pascal Siakam. And then at number 9, we've got Jaren Jackson Jr., who had a really, really great season, was in those Defensive Player of the Year conversations, could have repeated, and I guess not repeated because he won in 23, but regardless, a previous Defensive Player of the Year candidate in those conversations again, didn't quite get it, but got the all-defense nod, had a really, really good season, 22 points per game, 5.5 rebounds, 2 assists, great on the defensive end too, a block and a half per game, about a steal per game. He is one of the best defenders in the NBA, and what concerns me is just the motor. Sometimes I feel like I just see him kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say check out, but you know, he recognizes that certain games aren't as important as other games, and I would just like to see him be more aggressive all the time because I think he could jump up this list, and I think he could be better than he currently is. But regardless, he is really, really good at everything that he does. One of the best defenders in the NBA, and has started to create his own as a primary shot creator, shot maker. The 22 points per game, that's like getting into kind of not elite tier, but definitely being a threat, because being the second options to like Ja Morant, he needs to be able to create his own and to get his back to the basket, to score in the paint, to be able to drive. And he's okay from 3 too. I mean, he's not no slump from there. I mean, he's shooting 37% from 3, which is pretty good for a dude of his size. He can shoot it definitely, but I think that he gets a little bit complacent sometimes with his shot selection, with his shot diet. When he's shooting like 5 threes per game, 5.5 threes per game, and I would expect him to just be a little bit more selective with those if he just kind of chucks him up sometimes. And I know that he can shoot it, but I would like to see him be a bit more aggressive getting downhill. But regardless, still a great season from him. At number 8, I've got Chet Holmgren, who is fresh off his championship with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Had a fantastic season. Didn't play a whole lot in the regular season, but really stepped it up in the playoffs. And the scary thing is that there's still room to grow. He's fantastic on the defensive end, and there's still room to grow there, but especially offensively. And I think we're going to see him probably put on a bit more muscle, put on a bit more mass, because that's the one area of his defensive game that I think isn't perfect, is he could definitely, bulk up, because he gets his chest ran into a lot. You know, you'll see a guy, if he's guarding like a Jokic will just put him in the paint and dunk on him, or not dunk, but, get a little layup or something. Jokic doesn't dunk. I don't even see him jump. But regardless, we see him get it bullied a little bit in the paint, and that's the only area, because everything other than that, he is one of the premier defenders in the NBA at. One of the best roamers, can shot block with the best of them, was on pace, in my opinion, to be in those Defensive Player of the Year conversations earlier in the season, because I'll tell you what, I had him on my fantasy team, and this dude was balling at the beginning of the season until he got injured. Let me tell you what, he was averaging just nutty numbers. 2.2 blocks per game for the season, 0.7, 0.7 of a steal per game, 15 points per game, 8 rebounds, 2 assists. Well, he's just one of the best defenders, no doubt, and there's still room to grow, especially offensively, with creating his own shot, with just getting a little bit more post touches. And the scary thing, man, is that he could shoot the 3. He is the modern archetype of a big in today's NBA, and I slotted him in at power forward because I think he played a bit more of that this season next to Hartenstein when he did play. I mean, their lineup throughout most of the finals was Shea, Dort, Jalen Williams, and then Chet and Hartenstein. So, he played the 4 a lot. We saw them move him to the 5 for quite a bit through certain stretches, but I ended up putting him at 4 just because I feel like starting lineup, he ends up playing 4 more than the 5. And I'm putting him above a guy like a Jaren Jackson Jr. just because I feel like there's more there, Although Jaren averages more points and is also a great defensive player, I feel like Chet has the advantage of being the third option instead of like the second option. And maybe that's just unfair, because overall I've been favoring the players that are the higher option on their teams and have a higher responsibility offensively and defensively. But in this case, I feel like Chet would thrive a lot more, and his numbers are a little bit down because of the year that he had, and also the fact that he is the third option. And if he was on another team, I think that he would thrive, but he just does everything that the Thunder need, and they won a championship for a reason, because he is one of the best power forwards in the league. And then at number 7, I've got Paolo Banchero. Now, when you break it down, it's like, why is Paolo at 7? This is way too low for him. But when you look at the guys above him, I just can't put him above any of them. He had a fantastic season, no doubt. Paolo is one of the best power forwards in the league. When I was doing the numbers, it did not make sense to me that he was at number 7, but it is what it is. 26 points per game, 7.5 rebounds, 5 assists. He's a franchise guy. He's literally a franchise guy, can get to the basket with the best of them, one of the best finishers in the league, can play defense at such a high level, and he's 26 point per game scorer guy. He's fantastic. How is he at 7? But I don't know, man. When you break it down, it is what it is. 45% from the field. Doesn't shoot the 3 so well, 32% from there, but probably is one area that he's not perfect at. And I don't know why I keep ending up talking about the negative things about some of these top guys, because I think that's the reason why, is because of the fact that all of them are so good that I've got to nitpick. I've literally got to point out little flaws in their game to be able to rank them. Because everything else that these guys do, like Paolo and Chet and even Jaren, like, they do so many things well that it's so hard to say that they're not better than some other guys and to rank them. But Paolo is the modern archetype of a point forward in today's NBA, brings the ball up the court, creates for others, does everything on the basketball court, and has room to grow still. He could jump up this list even above some of the guys that are classic legacy guys and franchise guys on their teams. But I'm really excited to see where this next season takes the Magic. They made some moves, got Desmond Bane, Paolo and Franz, and Desmond Bane, and getting Jalen Suggs back. Man, Magic could definitely make a top 3 push in the East, I think. They have all the skills to do it. At number 6, I've got Evan Mobley, who I decided to take over Paolo for a couple of reasons. And the biggest one being that I think that he impacts the game in just a different way. And that might just be beneficial, or just might be a benefit of the fact that he's on this Cavaliers team that is extremely good and extremely loaded. But I can't fault him for that. I cannot fault him for being on a good team. And Paolo's the 1 option. Evan Mobley's kind of the 2. He's the 2 option. But there were definitely conversations about him being the best player on the Cavs above Donovan Mitchell. I would not be in that camp. I think Donovan Mitchell is a stud. I think he's the best player on the Cavs. But Evan Mobley is the perfect complementary piece. And I think that he is just such a modern archetype of a big who is extremely lengthy, extremely versatile, does it all. 19 points per game, I'm rounding up, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, really, really good defender. He's up there with some of the best defenders in the NBA all time. Really, all time, because he just won Defensive Player of the Year fresh off that, and I'm giving him the nod for that defense, man. What he does on that end of the court is just nuts. He benefited from Wemby getting hurt, no doubt. Victor Wembanyama went down with the injury, who was favored for Defensive Player of the Year, and then Evan Mobley ends up winning it. But you can't fault him for that. You can't fault him for another player getting injured, because he really is one of the best roamers on the defensive end. He just literally does it all. And I feel like his offensive game took a huge leap this season, because he was a lot more versatile, creating off the dribble, getting his own. 18.5 points per game is nothing to scoff at, because he's jumped up from 15 his rookie season, then 16, then 16. He's been pretty consistent, but this past season he just took a leap on that end of the floor with his best efficiency yet. 62% from the field, up from like 54% of his rookie season. Just great numbers across the board. Can shoot the 3 too. 37% on 3 attempts. I mean, he's such a versatile player that he's literally plug and play on any team, is the modern archetype for a big in today's NBA. And I slot him at the 4 because he plays next to Jared Allen. We're seeing the double big become a lot more common. And I think 4 is where he's at his best. Defensively, he's just such a monster. I mean, when you watch him on the court, he could literally be everywhere at once. This dude just moves like no other player I've ever seen. He's so tall, so lengthy, so versatile. At number 5, I've got Kawhi Leonard. And it seems low, again, for Kawhi being at 5, but the injury concerns are real, right? Like, same conversation that we had with Zion. Just having the injury luck and maybe not on his side, being known as just a player that you can't really rely on. But what I saw from him in the playoffs was enough to convince me that he can be consistent, he can be relied upon. And there are times in that Denver series where it felt like he was almost the best player on the court next to the best player in the world in Nikola Jokic. So, I mean, high bar there, but Kawhi Leonard has shown us time in, time out that when he's on the court, he is one of the best players in the league, but it's just getting him on the court, you know? He's got the load management conversations. I don't want to get into all the injury stuff, but 37 games, you know, not terrible, but it's just become a consistent thing that it's hard not to talk about when ranking him. I mean, if he can't play, it's like, what are we doing? You know, since he's been in LA, there's just some crazy stats about his injury history. So he played 57 games his first season in LA, then 52, didn't play the next season, then 52, 68, 37. You know, it's not great, but I don't know. I just hope he can have a healthy season, honestly, just so we can see Kawhi at his best, because when he's playing at his best, he's literally unstoppable. His mid-range game is money when he's on. That dude cannot miss. And he literally won a championship and has 2 final MVP to show for his defense. I mean, that dude is just nuts. It's kind of crazy to me that he doesn't have a DPOY just because of his defense. Is absolutely nuts what he's able to do on that end of the court. So, yeah, 21 points per game. 22. Let me round up. 22 points per game. 6 rebounds, 3 assists, stealing a half per game. Half a block per game, good efficiency. I mean, 50% from the field, 41% from 3, almost 54-90, but free throws aren't quite there, 81%. Kawhi is just such an enigma, man. What a weird player. I mean, just is one of the most special and gifted defensive and offensive players that we've ever seen, but has injury problems and can't stay on the court. But regardless, I think that when he is on the court, is unstoppable. Literally unstoppable. Could jump up this list a couple positions, in my opinion, if he could stay healthy. But definitely gets knock for the health concerns from me. At number 4, we've got Anthony Davis, who also kind of has some injury problems, but maybe not quite as much. I don't know. He's had more healthy seasons, in my opinion, than Kawhi Leonard. I mean, we go through the games logged. It's not great. You know, he played 51 games this past season, which is pretty good. But with AD, you've just got to know that that he's not going to play all 82. But he has shown us that he can go on a deep playoff run and he can be consistent, relied upon. The thing with him is just consistency, right? Getting him to be a beast, be a monster, night in, night out. He'll take games off, it feels like sometimes. But I think that being traded to the Mavericks will light a fire under him, because the whole situation about him being traded for Luka just puts a different kind of narrative around Anthony Davis's name. And I think he's going to change it. I think he's going to be a franchise guy in Dallas, and he's going to prove his worth, because, I mean, this past season he had great numbers, 25 points per game, 12 rebounds, 3 assists, 2.2 blocks per game. Whew, what a monster. And a steal per game, great efficiency. What a great year, man. Just what a great year from him. Even, like, just put the trade aside. Just don't think about the trade, just the on-court play. Anthony Davis is one of the best power forwards in the league, and the Luka trade, is just going to hang around his name forever, and there's nothing to do to avoid it. It just is what it is, but I still think Anthony Davis is fantastic. I'm curious to see him at the 4. We only saw a couple game sample size of it in Dallas, but he's been complaining about wanting to play the 4, and now I'm putting him at 4 on this list because I think he's going to play the 4 next season. He wants to play next to Gafford or Lively, be a bit more of a roamer, and I do think that he is right. I think that position suits him a little bit better. Although he has a size to play the 5, I think that his skill set definitely lends itself to being the 4, and it makes sense. He's number 4 on this list. It just works out like that. And then number 3, we've got Kevin Durant, which is kind of nuts how stacked this position is, that KD is at number 3. But, that's how the cookie crumbles. He's 62 games this season, Really kind of had an all-time season on this weird team that wasn't very good, and he's still hyper efficient, one of the best scorers in the NBA, one of the best pure scorers ever in the NBA, maybe my favorite pure scorer in the NBA ever. His game is so smooth, he is so silky, he is a monster on the offensive end. And the narrative around him just being on the Suns team and still hooping should just not be overlooked, because he has been so consistent no matter what situation he's in and puts up great numbers. And he can have all the off-court stuff, whatever, he can talk on social media, but he always shows up on the court. No inconsistency there. And just the conversation around him going to the Rockets and immediately making them a championship contender just shows the caliber of player that he is, even at his age, even at this stage in his career. He's definitely just one of the best players in the league, even still. I mean, what a great season from him. I mean, he shoots so well from the field. 52% from the field, 43% from three, 83% from the free throw line, 26 points per game. He's just been that guy. He's been that guy for so long that it's insane to me that, him and LeBron and Steph are just rewriting the narrative around how long a player can play at such a high level in the NBA. And there's not been a huge drop-off at any stage of his career. And since he's been the pure scorer that he is, getting to the mid-range, three-level scoring, all of it, he has not come down from there. At number 2, we've got LeBron James. And it's kind of crazy that LeBron, even at 40 years old, even at this stage of his career, is still the second best power forward in the league, still one of the top 10 players, in my opinion, in the league, can still do it all on the basketball court. He is in just, what else is there to say about LeBron? I don't even know. 24 points per game, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, a steal per game, good efficiency, 51%, 37% from three, 78% from the free throw line. He's LeBron James. I don't even know what to say about LeBron James. That hasn't been said before. Just a really, really good season. I mean, what else is there? There's trade talks, whatever. I don't think LeBron's going anywhere. I think he's staying in LA. That's just my take on it. Like LeBron. Okay, what I will say about LeBron is this past season, I saw some defensive flashes that when he locks down, he can get into a bag that I didn't know that he still possessed at this point in his career. He can get in that stance, he can get down, and when they are building this identity, trying to have effort defense in LA, because that's going to be something that they need, not having so many plus defenders, and LeBron is just such a fantastic leader on that side of the court to tell guys where they're at. One of the highest IQ players ever, if not the highest IQ player ever in the game. What else to say about LeBron? He's only 2 to the number 1 guy, who is Giannis Antetokounmpo, who is just a monster. There is nothing you could do to stop Giannis. He is the best power forward in the league, top 3 player, top 2 in my opinion in the league right now, only behind Jokic. That'll be a fun list that I might do one day. Is in this offseason is top 15 players just in the league. That'll be fun. Stay tuned for that. But Giannis, I mean, what is there to say? 30 points per game, 12 rebounds, 6.5 assists, can literally carry a team, and I would not be surprised if the Bucks can be a top 4 seed next season just because of Giannis alone. Like, if they're the 4th seed, I would be like, yeah, I mean, Giannis just had a freaky, crazy MVP type season. And he's been in MVP conversations since he's been like one of the top players in the league. Like he's just been in the conversations for so long. And after he won back-to-back MVPs, has just, what was he, 4th in voting in 2020, then 3rd, then 3rd, then 4th, then 3rd. He's just been so good for so long. Has the championship. Now we're going to see Miles Turner next to him, and we're going to see how that's going to fit. But the Bucks roster, if you take out Giannis and just look at it on paper, it's not great, but I think it's good enough that if you insert Giannis, that he could just immediately make them one of the best teams in the East. Because, as I said before, Cavs, Knicks, Magic, Hawks, I guess, are up there. And the Bucks are in that conversation. I mean, I don't even... Here, let me make sure I'm not forgetting any teams in the East while I'm going through this. So we've got... we've got the Pistons too, which they might be pretty good, but the Bucks could be in those conversations just because of Giannis alone, and that shows how good he is. He is one of the best defenders in the NBA, and when he's getting downhill, he cannot be stopped. You can't do anything to get in his way. He just goes straight to the basket. Nothing you can do. Makes him one of the top 2 players in the league. You know, what else is there to say? And that's it. That's where we wrap up the list. I feel like Giannis, I also put it the power forward, just because he's played next to Brook Lopez. I feel like he plays the 4 more than the 5, although he has played the 5. I feel like I saw more 4 this past season, so slotting him in at the best power forward in the league. That's where I'll wrap it up for today. Hope you all enjoyed. This was a fun list, man. The power forward position is stacked now. I mean, it's just nuts how many great players there are. Really fun to talk about this list. If you enjoyed the episode, rate it 5 stars. And I'll be back next week ranking the centers, the top 15 centers in the NBA heading into next season. And I'll be curious to see whether I'll need a 15-ish, but I think that might just be an asterisk for this one episode just because there's so many good power forwards. And in other news, there's still some free agents out there that haven't signed yet. We've still seen some restricted free agents like Josh Giddey, Jonathan Kuminga, Cam Thomas haven't been signed yet, so I'll be on the lookout for those extensions, whether they be traded, sign and trade, whatever will happen, what those numbers will be, because I feel like that's even a bigger conversation is how much are these players worth? I don't want to get into all that at the end of the episode because that's a whole can of worms to open, but maybe we'll get into it next time. That's all I got for today. Till next time. Peace.